Yo, it's crazy how every time we go live, everybody get quiet.
You're supposed to do. See, why no feedback? Ah, here we go. Share to page.
This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game.
Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished.
This is Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast.
X about me, X about me.
With professional Sutton.
You already know.
Chris G.
My homie.
And the Rucker Report.
My family, what up?
They for real.
All straight with no chaser.
Let the games begin.
Let's go. Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, that is the intro to the Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. Welcome to another edition of Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy, Professional Sutton.
And I'm your boy, Chris G.
And it's your boy, the Ruck Report, Jersey.
And today we got a very, very special guest. My man, Randall. He is the dark-skinned Chris Broussard, man. What's going on, man?
Nothing much,
What's
man.
up, man?
I'm good. Sut just mad 'cause I called him out because he spent all his Rona check on Crown Royal.
I told you to be telling everybody what I'm doing with my money. Okay, you know how these Bridgeport cats is.
Oh
man.
God,
they
here we go.
else, they something else. You gotta watch out for them, man, because they mess around and take everything. You probably stole it.
Thanks for having me on, though.
Listen, man. Thank you, man. We definitely appreciate you. Coming on. We know that you in the roughest environment in the world, Bridgeport. But thank you, man. We appreciate you, man. Appreciate you, man. And also, speaking of thanking, we want to thank our sponsor, 94.3 WYBC.
The rhythm of the city.
Yes, sir. So today,
Also, y'all heard me that time, though.
yes, we
Y'all heard
did.
me last
That time we heard you.
heard me. All right.
Last time I don't know what happened.
Something
I think you were just
Something nefarious was going on last week, and I can't put my finger on it. But, man, I'm still tight about that. Go ahead, though.
How about that black life? So
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
How about that Black Lives Matter over there?
so the one you love to do the things that you thought they wouldn't do to you. But hey, who are we? So we got some. We
black niggas.
We discussed. Speaking of that, Dabble Sweeney made some comments about
segue.
the NCAA, black players, him being this staunch Trump supporter. So I had hit my brothers up, and we was talking about some things that that's going to lead to what we're going to talk about. So if you don't know who Dabble Sweeney is, he is the head coach of Clemson, Tigers. And he's been saying a lot of stuff that kind of resembles what Trump's like to say. He doesn't like players taking the kneel during the national anthem. He doesn't think that players should get paid. And recently, shouts out to Randall, he hit me up. He showed me something where it says, instead of why everybody was, in arms and locking and saying Black Lives Matter, Randall, what did his shirt say? What did his shirt say?
Oh man, his shirt said "Football Matters," and he's been wearing that shirt for a few months now. I mean, you can read into it what you want to read into it. I think common sense, you can make a leap on what that means and what it's saying. But that's where his heart is at. That's where his head is at. Football is the only thing he's focused on, or at least that's what he's telling us. That's the only thing he's focused on. So that's tough. But here's one thing I want to say before we go further on Dabble.
Sure.
To really understand this dude, you have to understand where he comes from. That man slept in the same bed with his mom up until he was in college. Like, that's how poor he grew up. So his worldview is colored by, if I can come from dirt poor, coupled with my faith in Jesus Christ, you can overcome anything. Black, white, rich, poor. Like, that is his mindset. He doesn't just say it because it sounds good. He firmly believes that. So, but the problem is, in this present moment, Dabble needs to be on the ground with his players not speaking in monologues and giving a rah-rah speech. And I'm never gonna try to tell anybody like put your Christianity aside, especially if that colors your worldview. And it's not to defend him, but just so people understand that is where this man is coming from. That man he grew up from, like, we talk about the mud, the trap, the dirt. He came from that and made himself. Think about it. He turned Clemson into Alabama. Clemson should never be mentioned in the same breath as Alabama, but he has done that. So that just gets where your mindset is, that man is like, yo, I can come from dirt into the program that we make jokes about, has no business being where it is, to a powerhouse. So I'm not defending him, but I'm just saying, just so we know where that man's mindset is at.
Ruck, man. So his comments and his lack thereof of sometimes addressing things. How do you feel about it? Because I think that some of his recent comments, he was talking about. So if people don't know, it was alleged that one of his coaches called one of his athletes a nigger, and he said that the coach didn't call him a nigger. He was simply repeating what that player said, and he shouldn't have said it, but that's what he was doing. Ruck, man, what do you say about that, man? What do you say about him and his stance and his lack thereof really pushing that shit?
Like, my whole thing is, Burns did a great job of selling Dabo to the American public, but he didn't need that great job, Burns. What he's done with Clemson, he's turned that program, like you said, into something as a powerhouse, just like Alabama. It's revered across the country. But again, and I said this last show and the show before that, listen, the current president has made it okay to call a spade a spade. Dabo is what it is. I don't care if you grew up dirt poor. There's really something wrong about you sleeping with your mother until you went to college. I'm sorry, but that's what it is. But again, this is like Dabo's a habitual line stepper, right? This is what he does. He is the one that is consistently just going to step on the line with his toe there, right? And the thing about it, in this time,
gotta clip that.
I'm just saying, in this time, like you have to have some more self-awareness than what it is. Clemson, again, becoming something like Alabama, he knows what players made it like that. Because before Trevor Lawrence, is that boy they call Watson and a whole bunch of other people that look like him. So you have to have some more awareness of what's going on. For you to even try to explain the story,
that's something that you should never even try to do either. Listen, the coach made a statement, whether he, made it intentionally or not, that's something that we don't accept here at this program. We respect everybody that's here at this program, especially in this time and day we're valuing all the black lives that we serve. So, no, this won't be allowed. He's either going to be suspended or terminated, period. That's how people need to move on with this stuff, because anything else, it just makes you sound stupid. So I didn't read so much into what Dabo was saying, because when he got on and he was saying this stuff and trying to explain it, yeah, I said it because somebody was playing music in the locker room. Yeah, coach, they're bugging. They're telling all these lies. No, Dabo, stop. It's over. Let it go. So that's my feeling on it.
Chris, Chris, man. So what do you say about, what Dabo, the comments that he's made and, just some of the stuff that's been going on? You're on mute if you.
Well, I mean, Dabo is the what'd you say?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
What'd you say?
You can hear me?
All right. Well, I would say, Dabo is I can hear you fine. I would say that Dabo is he's the typical white coach in collegiate sports right now. He's all for black people when they're on the field making him his money, and then when they're not on the field making his money, he got to step away from that. And I think his true colors have shown throughout the years. Kind of starting with I won't even start it with the Kaepernick stuff. I would start it when, as always in college sports, they talk about paying players, and he was, how I feel about that. He was religiously against that. He doesn't think that's the right thing to do. He didn't think kneeling for the national anthem, for these black rights that we see that people are fighting for even to this day. Cue in the Deontay Wilder clip to this day, and he's fallen. Yeah, he's fallen victim to, I want to say, the safest thing that won't upset the black parent that I need to recruit their kids, but I also don't want to piss off all my white donors and Southerners that love my point of view of life. And he's just towing the company line, really. And you ask me, that's how I feel about Dabo.
I mean, I definitely think that you have some good points, and I think everybody said it so eloquently, and I think that Dabo learned in this business that once and for all, this is the business. You know what I mean? So yeah, we can say this is it, and I want to ride for my people, and I love my players, but like Randall said, and Chris said, I don't think he realizes that he's a white male. So his privilege is a little bit different than a lot of players. His privilege is a little bit different in the sense that he can get a lot of places because of his skin color. With that being said, he can get jobs that can open up doors that T. Martin is not able to get. That Byron Leffers isn't able to get because of, let's just face it, what he has. But also, with that being said, when you're saying this stuff and you're not being sensitive to your player needs, you need to come out and just say how you feel. Like Bear Bryant, he didn't have no bones about saying what he felt. And it ended up costing him after a while. But let's keep it real. Like Chris said, he's towing that line of, well, I want to stay around for my people, but also I kind of want to keep my players too. But at the same time, you're offending them more than you're helping them. And that's just how I feel. Now, a lot of people are saying, black college, a lot of these black athletes need to go to black colleges. And I want to know, how do you fellas feel about, black colleges? And should these athletes just go to black colleges? Randall, I'll start with you, man.
I see Ruck shaking his head. I want to hear what Ruck. Go ahead,
Ruck. What you got to say, man?
Nah. No, I'm gonna acquiesce to Burns, but I've been waiting. Go ahead, Burns. It's on you.
This is a tough one because as much as I would like to funnel every single 5-star athlete to the real H, Howard University, I can't.
He's at the Howard University. Oh shit! He wanted to have a beef already.
I will say this. If you're a five-star athlete, right, and you pretty much know, like, I'm going to the league. If it's basketball, I'm going to the league next year. If you're like a football player, like, look, I'm out of here in 3 years. You have to trust the place that's going to get you to that destination quickest, easiest, and the most prepared.
Mm-hmm.
You got to think about that. The money that these schools have, the medical staffs that these schools have. You don't got to go there and completely invest yourself into these communities and these programs. You don't even got to go to class. Show up, play a game, leave. You see how bad it is. You see these Iowa kids coming out talking about how bad it was under Kirk Ferentz.
Exactly.
So it's like, you don't got to go to that school. And like I said, as much as I would love these kids to go to HBCUs, I think you got to do what's best for you and your family. Because let's be honest, I'm not sure these boosters at these HBCUs can give you the kind of cash that you get if you go to Duke. And if I'm hurting, my family's hurting, and you got, the Ford dealership down in Cameron telling me that, look, man, you just show up every Monday and we got 10 G's at the back.
Oh, is that how they do it at Duke for basketball? Randall?
So look, there's a book, Meat Market. It details
Ed Orgeron. Listen, we were on trial already.
Meat Market details college, a year with Ed Orgeron when he was at Ole Miss. I'm just saying, you read that, you'll find some things out. You listen to Spencer Hall of SBC Nation. Did a series with Bomani Jones called The Bag Man. Talking about how CashApp, you don't even gotta, meet nobody no more. So I would say this: if I'm one of those athletes, I gotta keep the train rolling, man. I gotta take it to one of these top flight schools. Because, and here's why I'll say this: I think the biggest thing is the medicals. If I get hurt, who am I going to trust myself into? And the biggest thing I think about is when you saw that New Orleans Pelicans had a rash of injuries. Do you know what that was due to? The cheapness of the New Orleans Pelicans, because they use the same medical staff as the Saints. Well, if you use the same medical staff as the Saints, the priority is always going to be the Saints. So if you get hurt, you got to wait behind that 53-man roster. So if I go to a small school and I know they don't have the funds and I got this torn ACL, it's going to be a problem. So I'm going to go with the facility where they got this 60,000 seat arena. And I know that booster going to be at my house, taking me to see the best surgeon and get me to the league. And then I'll go donate to HBCU once I become the first round pick.
Chris, man, what you say, man? Chris.
Well, you know what? That was actually a good point. I didn't think about it like that until Randall said that one. I didn't think about the. Can you hear me?
Yeah. We can hear you.
You got me?
Looking at Ruck. Yep. I'm just looking at Ruck.
Yo, you got me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody was saying that, but what I was going to say is, I didn't really think about that until Randall said that about the, the medical staff. That's a big proponent. Now that I think about it, it kind of took me off of where I was going to go with the HBCU thing. It actually kind of got me into thinking about, well, one of the reasons why you would want to go somewhere with a better medical staff is overall they got a better infrastructure to support what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. I'm torn now, man. I don't know how to answer this question anymore.
It's all about getting to the league.
This conversation earlier, me and Quet, off the mic. Yeah, you're right. It is all about getting to the league. And even though I wouldn't mind seeing the NCAA crumble and the Power Five have to get down on their knees, it is about the players. Mm-hmm. These young kids, mostly black kids, having the best opportunity to pipeline themselves from high school to the pros. And I don't know. You know what? Let Ruck go, man. I don't know what to say now. Yeah, you know what? I'm a reasonable guy. My mind can be changed. And Randall just put something in my head. I can't get it out now.
Ruck, man, you attended a fine institution. And now you would say the real HU. Some would say that. You attended Hampton. What is your take on?
Ain't that a hotel?
Yo, Ruck, come on, sir. Yo, go ahead, Ruck. Get him, Ruck. Go ahead. Yeah. Yo, Randall just threw a curveball. What you say, man? Look, Randall. He said Hampton, man.
That looked like the New Haven Public School sign.
So what I would say is this. Being an alumnus of a historically black college and university, the best black college and university around, Hampton University, there is no other. I say this. I feel like black universities have survived a long time with top tier talent. Are we or have we always been considered on the same levels of Duke, North Carolina, Ohio State, programs like that? No. But if you look at professionals that have been turned out into the league, we have done and seen our fair share. Now, do we have the budgets that some of those programs have? Absolutely not. But if you tell me or raise the point that 5-star athletes that go to different colleges besides the traditional schools or the Power 5 will not attract not only fans, which is revenue, not only boosters, which is revenue, not only improvements in the athletic department for that particular sports program. You are absolutely out of your mind. If you see a rash of top-tier talent choosing different universities, do you understand not only the ripple effect that it would have for that incoming class, but people after that? Could you imagine if the Fab Five did not go to Michigan and went to, say, Detroit Mercy or something like that? What the impact would have been? Could you imagine if some of those players that went to North Carolina, like, say, a Rasheed Wallace, or, you know, even if we just talk about Rasheed, if Rasheed stayed home in Philly and went to Lincoln University, or if he went to Delaware State, what and who he could have attracted to those programs? The thing is, all the top-tier talents, if you want to say 5-star or whatever, there are only so many positions at Duke, at North Carolina. So even if you're looking at 4, 3, and 2-star talents, if they start to make this move, it only benefits them. You can still get to the league from a historically black college university. Hell, you can still get to the league from a D3 college. So
my fault. Let me go.
But I understand the point that you raised about you want the best. But again, everything that these top programs offer, with the exception of a budget balance difference, those are all things that the other things that they do at top tier universities, you can still get done at HBCU. Just like top tier players that go to Alabama, you may have the training staff that has $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $5 million budget, but those players still take out insurance policies on their body parts, just like you could do at another school. If your intention is to be one and done, it really doesn't matter where you play at. If you're talking about exposure, and this is one thing that I think everybody can agree with in this room. If you can play, they will find you. Yeah. Did they not find Steve McNair at Alcorn State?
True.
You know what I'm saying? So it's been done many a times. And the craziest thing is, at Hampton, it's been done many a times. So my argument is always going to be, you want to say what's best for you, what's best for the player. In this area of social media, I think, again, it gives you a broader market because you, again, get to write a different narrative that is way different than everybody else has done. Imagine what the impact LeBron James Jr. could have going to a HBCU. Imagine what the impact could be for Mikey Williams going to a HBCU. Now, here's the other bonus, right? While Randall brought up, the bag and all that stuff, if you're the top tier guy and you're going to a North Carolina with 4 other top tier guys, 9 times out of 10, you got to share the bag.
No, you don't.
But if you,
I'm gonna tell you why in a minute.
That's not true.
I'm gonna tell you why in a minute.
Don't do that, Randall.
All right.
Don't do that, Randall.
Now, when let's look at a program like FAU or FIU. Why these programs now come up? Mm-hmm. You now have from those schools billionaire alumni. Mm-hmm. Now looking back at these schools, like, hold up, I got the money. I can funnel this money into this school.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlimited. Like me and Sal were talking earlier. When you look at these programs in Texas and you want to understand why Texas colleges have done so well, the majority of their alumni are in the oil market. Mm-hmm. When the oil markets boomed in the 70s and 80s, they were able to turn around and funnel this money into these schools. Mm-hmm. So as long as you have these alumni that are super rich, the schools are always going to do well. Perfect example, Oregon. Phil Knight finally just got tired of Oregon being bad and just said, here, what do you need? Here's a blank check. What do y'all need? Here's the only trade-off. They had to let that man sit in the coach's press box. Every now and then he get to call the play. So then you look at these boosters who can now say, well, we need a better medical staff. T-Bone Pickens for Oregon State, billionaire. What do you need? Mm-hmm. These HBCUs, let's remember, we're 13% of the population, and we look at that black-white racial wealth gap, we don't have the finances.
But here's the counterpoint to that. If LeBron James Jr. picks an HBCU, who is his dad?
It's LeBron.
Who's his dad?
Yeah.
Okay. Who backs his dad? What shoe company?
Nike.
You don't think that his dad,
Bronny ain't Bron though.
No, he's
Bronny
not.
ain't Bron.
No. But because you got to take into account what just happened at Sierra Canyon. Because again, look, just take that platform right there. Bronny, with LeBron moving to LA, that was the next natural high school choice for him, right? You do realize that what we just watched in Sierra Canyon, none of those kids were there the year before.
No.
None of them.
They were already good kids at Sierra Canyon before.
Yeah.
None of the starting five was there the year before. You know that.
But
they came with other reserves that would have been stars at other high schools because of LeBron James.
So if Ron that's going to turn around the whole program for the rest of that program's existence?
Listen, it's not the fact that it's going to turn around the whole program for the program's existence. All you need is one to start the path.
We thought that would
all you need.
And look at the position.
But Sierra Canyon was already a dominant force in California high school basketball before Bronny went there. They might not have been, but they were an elite program. They had already had stars that went to Sierra Canyon. So it wasn't everybody picked Sierra Canyon together because they knew that was a program that could live up with all of the added hype that was going to come with Bronny. Listen, I like Bronny. I want Bronny to be successful. Bronny ain't even a top 20 prospect right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's not. I mean, I think he got talent, and I think Bronny is going to be good, but I'm just saying right at this point, Bronny not even a top 20 prospect. So I'm not putting I don't even want to put the Kings pressure on Bronny. Yeah. LeBron don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so here is my point, right? And again, I have no problem with players going to the HBCUs. I think that there are some fine ones, only a handful, but there are some. And I think that in order for that to happen, they're going to have to separate themselves from the NCAA some way, somehow. They're going to have to do something different because as long as you're under the clause of the NCAA, it's but so much you can do. And if you're telling a player who was a 5-star recruit, right? Yo, listen, not Hampton, because again, I'm not talking about the elite HBCU. I'm talking about just the regular one. Because I saw that one transfer, somebody shared it. He was from Vanderbilt and he's going to Alcorn State. I'm talking about like a 5-star recruit, right? You say, listen, you can't get paid at Texas, right? But if you go to, let's just say North Carolina A&T, because you want to start a movement. Now, again, and you guys can answer me. This player's still poor. This player's still living in the hood. Mom's still struggling. How is that going to help him? And what would he need to be successful? Because he's still under the claw of the NCAA. And then also, Ruck, because you answered it. Again, I'm not picking at it, but I just want to address it because you know how we are. Because you got a player like if you got a player that comes in, he like, yo, listen. If you got somebody like Ben Simmons who do that at LSU, that's whatever. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, he's here. But if you are a black athlete and you are only there for sports and you don't mingle with nobody sees you, how does that look and what's the perception to us? Because if we're talking about integrity, do we say we don't just want to be that type of school or do we just still take them in spite of? And that's what I'm saying because if you're talking about a black school, you're talking about prestige. You're talking about us, how they see us. So if we're going to be like everybody else, where do we draw the line, and how is that helping? So that was just I'm not knocking, but that's just my devil advocate point, right? Go ahead.
But my thing is, and I understand your point. My thing is the point that everybody's trying to make is it possible to reach the league from a program that may not be on the top tier level, and I still contend that it is.
No, it is. But my thing is it worth it? So here's the thing. So here's the thing. Is it worth it taking a chance and going to Duke or North Carolina, and you still might not make it? Like even if you're a 2 or 3-star or 4-star athlete, and so just like okay. If Cole Anthony went to
North Carolina his past year, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, he also had another stellar freshman class with him, like Damon Bako, people like that. So Cole Anthony decides to leave, and then those other kids still stay. So they ran out of their chance for the one and done, so maybe they got to stay another year to prove themselves. It could be the same thing anywhere. What I'm saying is you would raise the level of exposure to an even playing field across the country if players did that.
They got to get a TV contract first. Them dudes ain't even on TV.
But here's the thing: if you had what everybody considered top tier talent, the TV contract is gonna be there. It's gonna happen.
Well,
it's not like it's not.
Right. So I got a question now. Why don't black colleges play in like the bowls, like D1 double? Like, why do they have? So that was my question again. I didn't get the answer, but maybe you can answer. That would be my only thing. Would they be willing to break away? Because I know North Carolina A&T or North Carolina Central, one of them, they broke away and were like, yo, we want to play in this playoff so we can play the best of the best so we can get looked at.
Well, North Carolina A&T is actually still in the MEAC. North Carolina Central left the MEAC conference or the CIAA. You had Hampton that left the MEAC and went to the SWAC. So there are tons of schools that are doing that. And again, it's all about what these schools are able to schedule, who they get to kind of pick them to play against, who they're able to bring to their campus and play against. It's college sports, so it's a lot of politics in it. But I still contest. It's been too many great athletes that have gone to historically black universities and colleges that have made it for there not to be another rush of people to try it.
Versus how many that came out of Power 5 schools, though? Like the number of black athletes that come out of Power 5 schools dwarfs the ones that come out of HBCUs.
It absolutely does. But there are a lot of Power 5 players that came out of those schools that got drafted and were bust. That weren't good at all.
But why did they get drafted? Because they had the exposure. And some of these dudes are 2-star dudes that get coached up. Think about the budgets that these schools have for coaching, the budgets that they have for a trainer. Perfect example. Here's the other thing. Some of these places won't let you be good. UAB offered Brian Dabble the head coaching job, right? Mind you, that's a state school. Mm-hmm. As soon as he was ready to take that job, the legislature said, hey, the money's not there no more. But if you want to go be the offensive coordinator at Alabama, we'll give you the exact same contract.
Right.
Federally, a state school can only pay a coach $275,000. You know where the rest of that money comes from? The boosters.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Unless Bob Johnson gonna break off some of that BET money and give to these HBC schools.
And that's in essence a lot of another part of the conversation that needs to happen, because
yes,
you can't sit here and say that there aren't enough of us in entertainment or that have made it to some type of wealth that should be given back, like they should, and it's possible. But again, it's always been so ingrained in these athletes' minds that if you don't go to a Duke or North Carolina or whatever, that you're not making the right choice. And that's just not true.
Nah, listen, I get you, but I think that the infrastructure in the HBCU has to be different. They got to do something that's going to attract these players. Like, they got to say, listen, we joining the NAIA and we're going to find a way to get you guys paid. They're going to have to be just a little bit better. And also, when you're talking about outside of basketball, I'm talking about football, because I think football, that's what we're really talking about. Like these athletes are saying, yo, I'm tired of this. But we're going to have to really say, yo, we're going to need to play those we're going to have to play the North Dakota States. We're going to have to play some of the top tier schools to show that we can make it. But when you stay in the black college, Super Bowl or like playoffs, that is tough.
The BT Bowl.
But the only reason that happens like that again is because if I'm Ohio State and I know my paycheck is Michigan, Penn State, Wisconsin, right?
Uh-huh.
And I know that's always going to give me the money. If I know out of conference schedule, I can get money from if Notre Dame wants to play me or if USC wants to play me because they have the money. They're never gonna go anywhere else to play because they want the dollar. That's
You know
it.
what you gotta do?
So
You gotta do like Appalachian State and take your ass whoopers for probably about 6 or 7 years, and then finally like
that's exactly what it is. And then you get somebody like when Appalachian State, and they have a couple of breakout players that then shows that against elite competition that you can be that person. Then that's what starts to trickle. But again,
but do you want to be the guinea pig? Though?
Everybody. Yeah.
Do you want to be the guinea pig? No. Do the player want to be the guinea pig? That's going to be in the building process and not the final product.
But that's the thing, Chris. If a lot of these players understood the power that they could have in writing their own story, they would take the chance. Of course, I think now these young athletes are ready to be getting paid. Because look, we just saw all these high school players decommit from top tier universities to just say, okay, I want to go play in the G League Elite. So somebody can do it.
But they're getting paid.
Yeah, they're getting paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
You ain't getting paid in HBC. You ain't getting paid in HBC.
No, HBCU's gonna have to find a way to pay players. Like that's it. They're gonna, because if I'm a 5-star recruit and I'm coming out of Compton, California, and I ain't got nothing, I can go to Alabama where I know if something happened, I'm good, I'm straight, I'm gonna get a car, house. But if I go down to, like I said, I'm just gonna use Alabama State, and I gotta stay in project dorms, and we don't have a good line, and Lord forbid, I hope I don't kill myself. Like, what is that gonna look like? Now, again, I think that black players should do that. That would be dope. But what I'm saying is that what I'm proposing is more black athletes who are already NFL. Even if you didn't go to HBCU, you're gonna have to give some money. Black people in general, but also they're gonna have to break away from tradition and say we're gonna find a way to get into these D1 AA playoffs so we can show our talent, because that's where the revenue comes at.
You gotta go undefeated.
That's different.
What do
you say?
Let's be honest. You gotta either have one loss, go undefeated. And how many years do you think it'll be before a school like Appalachian State is that good to do that?
But I'm talking about.
Listen, they said the same. They said the same thing about. Okay, so we'll take it back here. They said the same thing about Hampton when they made the run in the tournament and they had no business playing. You know, Alabama. I think it was Alabama at the time, and Iowa State. Jamal Tinsley's Iowa State team. Jamal Tinsley and Marcus Fizer. We had no business in that game, and we won. Right?
But that's,
and again,
basketball is different though.
Yeah, basketball is much different. But like I said, my thing is, again, you just need a couple of different people to say, I want to be outside of the box, and this is the perfect time and place to do so. In this area, it's way different than when we grew up. When you needed a tape. You needed a tape to be put together, a highlight reel. Like, you can just be on social media and change everything.
But guess what Mel Kiper gonna say? Guess what Mel Kiper gonna say? Guess what
Todd
is gonna say? Guess what they're gonna say? Well, he had some great potential when he was in Georgia, but he didn't play anybody in college. So I don't really know where the tape is. But
you know what? Hold on.
Into that playoffs. Go ahead, Chris.
Yes, he'll say that about them, but then let a player from North Dakota State come around.
Mike
then
Glennon.
Todd, then they're going to say, oh, all the talent is there. We didn't need to see him play against elite people. All the talent was there.
And that's my thing, Ruck. So, and then maybe you can help me, but why don't I just want to see HBCUs in that tournament? Because I think that they have a lot of talent. But they need to say, yo, we need to be in the D1 AA tournament on ESPN playing those. They got to lead the league.
They've played people. They have to lead their league, and they've played people.
No, but I'm talking about during playoff time, not during a regular season. I'm talking about playoff time, because when
you got to get out of D2 first.
I think it's a lot of
Hampton is D1 AA.
Right now, a lot of these schools are D1 AA, but when you're playing only swag,
just like Howard did,
AA, but they need to play other schools. But they need to play other schools.
Listen, what I'm saying is, listen, just like Howard did when Howard took their chance and they went to Nevada and beat them. When Kalen Newton let them up there and they beat them. Again, that was a big shift for everybody. But again, if the narrative is always the best way is through this school. That's what players are gonna pick. It's that easy. And you're talking about competing with somebody that says you're competing with Duke and North Carolina when it comes to basketball. You're competing with Alabama, Clemson, and Ohio State. But that's because that's what everybody has done. Because there's always been a narrative that if you want to make it, this is where you go. Even now to positions, if you want to make it, like Ohio State and LSU could be considered DBU, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just Ohio State.
You know what I'm saying? So again, just like years ago, if you wanted to be a good running back, you tried to get to Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So again, but you can't tell me the best running backs in the nation were just at those schools. Just look at this past year. Wisconsin is a running back factory, but Chuba Hubbard went to what? Oregon State, 2,000 yards rushing. So again, when you put the numbers up, it's going to happen.
I think you're right, but I'm not arguing that they don't have the talent to make it from an HBCU.
Right.
It's about
we just don't have the stage.
You're right. HBU just doesn't have the stage, but the perception is, yes, I have the talent to be successful anywhere that I go, but what is the easiest route for me to get
what can you offer me?
In HBCU, even though there's been talent to come out of there, even though if great talent went to there, it's still easier to go to a Power 5 conference and show off there than it is to do it through an HBCU. Now, you can still get found because you're right. That's the old saying. If you talented, they will find you. But how about I put myself in a position where they don't have to find me and they know where I'm at? And I think that's the position that a lot of young players are taking, or the reason why they won't go to an HBCU. Because again, if you do go to an HBCU and you do want to start take for example, Grambling. Grambling was a dynasty, were they not?
And Robinson, right?
Absolutely.
They were a dynasty, but after he left, they fell apart. Yeah. And now we don't talk about any HBCU college football team.
And that's really unfortunate.
It's unfortunate,
Here's the thing.
Predictable.
Do you want to go to the school that got the barbershop in your locker room, or go to the school where you gotta hope you catch an Uber to the barbershop
and get robbed?
You see them Clemson locker rooms, or you want to go to the Titans locker room from the Denzel movie? I'm just being real, man.
I feel you. I feel you.
But
I think we overestimate the talent that comes from these Power 5 schools. Here's a question. And Burns, this is for you. Name the last USC quarterback that went in the first or second round that had a decent NFL career. I'll wait.
Carson Palmer.
How long ago was that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we get Carson Palmer. You got Matt Barkley. You got Mark Sanchez. You got Matt Leinart. What happened to them?
Sam, and don't forget, Sam. Say his name. Say his name.
Yeah. Sam Donnell.
They suffered from the Ken Dorsey effect.
Yes.
We thought these dudes were really good, but you had all pro talent around you.
Yeah.
That's because I thought Ken Dorsey was a Hall of Famer. Then I realized, you was playing with some of the greatest talent in the history of the game. But here's the thing. You proved the
Still couldn't beat Ohio State.
Yeah, we got robbed. We were robbed.
Listen.
We're going to talk about that later.
Oh, I didn't know you were a Miami fan.
Oh yeah, he is.
Till I died.
Man, you know that was a PI. Come on, man. I don't know why everybody brought it. It's a PI. It's a PI.
Chris,
the game was just on.
Cheap like shot out Willis.
They played it on. Yes, it was a PI.
Took my boy's legs out.
I mean, listen, that was the unfortunate play. But you play to win the game.
You play
but you know what?
To win the game.
Go ahead. Right? And I see y'all got a great left tackle, y'all got a great right guard, and I'm a running back. You don't go in there. You tell me, think about it, Wisconsin. All you do is put out these 1,500 to 2,000 yard rushers.
Yeah,
I need the easiest route. I need the easiest route. I need to save the wear and tear of my body. I don't want to get my ass kicked for 3 years.
Yeah,
and it sucks. And I want HBUs to be great
too,
but I can't tell no kid to go do that to themselves.
But here's the other thing though. When you're talking about being selfish, these presidents need to stop and say, "Hey, listen, we need to look out for these players so they can get the exposure to play in these arenas so they can play. They're all about integrity, and that's cool. But integrity is not going to get you a lot when you're talking about playing sports and trying to play with the big boys, because they need to break away from some of this and say, hey, we need to get that exposure. We need to go to these top playoffs and beat teams there. Yeah, during the season, that's cool. But like Randall said, some of these dudes, they want to play against the best talent in the nation. And if you just playing
and be surrounded by it.
Right. And again, and there's no knock. I think that they have great talent. But these also, when you're talking about greed, I went to Alabama. It's a lot of greed in these schools, like in any school. In any school. But if I'm coming here and I'm making you millions of dollars, I want you to share that with us. So the same problem you're going to have at these other schools, you're going to have at Black college, but it's going to be intensified. So my question is, they have to, well, not my question, but what I'm proposing is they're going to have to break away and do something different in order for that to happen. Like, not just players going here.
What do you suggest?
Man,
they got outside of money. There's nothing you can do.
They're going to have to find a way to pay these players, man. Give them a little something. Like the black players that's in the NFL, NBA, even if you didn't go to black schools, like Ruck said, when you talking about putting money into it, they're going to have to put some money into it. If Cam Newton, Michael Jordan, I'm just spitting out, black players are going to have to say, we're going to have to help these HBCUs out so we can help them. That's what's going to have to happen. That's what's going to happen.
As much as I'd like that to happen, I don't see it happening.
I know, but I'm just saying that's what's going to have to happen. That's what's going to have to happen. But then also I had asked earlier, and now since affirmative action applies to federally funded programs, right? In HBCU, are they still going to keep that integrity and say, no, we only going to hire black coaches? Or are they going to say, hey, man, if we can get, let's just say, Dabble here, and he going to get us the kids, do we hire Dabble? Because we're not talking about hundreds of thousands. We're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars.
Can they pay Dabble?
I'm just, say like if Dabble say, you know what, I understand how it feels to be poor. I slept with my mother until I was 22. Okay? So I get it. You just give me what I got. Nike got me. I got this sponsorship by them. I can make up the balance. But
that's
what
a lot
I'm
of
trying to do,
man.
I'm trying to give you a good product. That's what I'm trying to do. Do you go after a white coach who's going to get you millions of dollars, or do you say, nah, we good? We're going to keep it black. That's my question.
I say we good.
You good, Ruck?
I'm good.
Chris, Randall, what y'all say? If let's just say, hypothetically, like, I don't know, Lane Kiffin say, yo, I'll come to
Kiffin. Come on, man. Come on, man. Lane Kiffin. You gonna put Lane Kiffin in it? Listen,
so you want to put Nick Saban?
The last time something remotely like what you're talking about happened was in 2012 at Alcorn State. And it was hell to pay when it happened. It's just, listen, the thing about it is,
Anthony said, go after the best coach for that program. That's it. So no white, black, green, yellow. If they're going to be good, again, black schools, and Ruck, they're all about integrity, right? So integrity and millions is different. Because again, if you get in a coach who happens to be white.
But here's the other thing too. I understand what you're saying, but too long the narrative has been that HBCUs are all broke. Not all HBCUs are underfunded.
Right. It's only 6 of y'all. It's only 6 of y'all. You, Hampton, Howard, FAMU, Morehouse.
No, you got. Come on, it's more than 6.
Who got money like that? Who got Morehouse, Spelman,
Clark, North Carolina A&T,
Howard, Hampton, FAMU,
Morgan,
and what up? Morgan.
I
don't think Tuskegee broke.
No, listen, they got some money. I'm talking about money where you can go get money. The 6 schools I named, they can go get their boosters, and these boosters got bread. Case in point, Bill Cosby. You know how much he donates to Spelman and to freaking Morehouse? Spike Lee.
Well, not no more.
Yeah, I'm about to say.
I'm saying, but Spike Lee, Morehouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about like where they got it's about 6 schools that you can rethink where these people can go get bread. I'm just saying.
That again, it goes back to everything that we've been talking about. The narrative has to change, and the only way that it gets changed is that if collectively everybody comes together and makes a decision.
I agree.
Collectively, somebody comes out and becomes the brave soul to say, "Yo, I want to be the first one to start this new wave," and it can happen. Like all the reports over the last couple of weeks have been about Norfolk State offering Mikey Williams, the guard out of California, a scholarship. And just his response was, you know, if I feel like I can make it anywhere and I can control my own narrative, why not go to a black university?
Right.
Like, it can happen. It just needs to be, again, one person, and that one person will open the floodgates. And again, just imagine, like, there was even a post, like, with some of the best college basketball teams. Could you just imagine if those guys had went to historically black universities? Like, it would have been such a different. If the Fab Five chose something different, I go back to that example. If those 5 players chose something different than Michigan, you never know what it could have been.
No, I agree.
You know, you never know what it could have been. I tell you this, and this story is widely reported and everything. If John Thompson doesn't step in, like, Allen Iverson probably would have had no problem going to Hampton. Mm-hmm. He's from Hampton.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it can happen. It's just that, again, the black college has always been downplayed. And these Power 5 schools, all the recognition is from their name and supposed mystique. And people just fall in love with it. And sadly enough, we do more than anybody.
That's true.
Well, I'll say this.
Go ahead.
It's not just the finances behind these schools is too much. It's not. I won't say it's. Now you look at these endowments that these schools have, the resources, the access, the political power.
It's a lot to compete with.
I would say this. I think HBCU should continue with the focus of educating our black and brown brothers and sisters, just being the best people they can be. Leave sports to these other people, and just let that be our goal.
Now listen, now Ant made a good point. He said it's will take a strong-willed athlete. If you look at the track program at North Carolina A&T, it's one of the best in the country and helped that school becoming one of the largest rise in enrollment at any school in the country. And that's true. But my thing is, what are these presidents willing to give up? And like you said, Randall, a lot of these presidents are going to be like, yo, we're not here for that. Like, if you got a 5-star recruit, and I'm telling you, you got a 5-star recruit, and he like, yo, I'm coming here, and this is what I want. And you got, let's just say, I'm just spitting a name, because you know, I'm talking about one of them old school, like, I'm one of them old school black dudes named Dr. Eugene Boyd. Listen, boy, we don't play that. So you're gonna go get your education, and that's gonna be about it.
And remember this:
Are
you willing to lower your academic standard to get some of these athletes in?
That's another point.
Yeah,
that's a real another point.
Because Mississippi, one thing they do is they label kids special ed once they get to high school, so you could just pass them. And then at Odron said at Ole Miss, what he would do is Pete Carroll taught him is you have these kids take these online courses, they get their averages up so they could get into school.
Yep.
Is HBCU going to go bend over backwards for a kid like that and ruin their prestige?
Listen, I understand that, but you gotta also look at there's certain states, like you just said, Mississippi. Take for instance Wisconsin. Wisconsin has D1 and D3. That's it. There's no middle ground. No. So if you don't qualify, the only option that you have in that state is to go D3. So I mean, different players do different things. Different states do different things. Universities. The point that I disagree about that is that most of the university presidents at historically black universities are businessmen or women first. So that's why, you know, the 6 that Marquette says that are out there that make that money, That's why we have the endowments that we have.
Yes.
So again, sports is a business transaction in essence. So
you saying they gonna play ball?
Listen, I can only tell you I've seen a lot, so I know what it looked like. And again, even at HBCUs, the bag is given out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's right or it's wrong, but at the same time, again, if you talk, I feel like this, and I know that I'm biased, but I feel like this. I feel like the opportunity that any 5-star athlete for even that 1 year at an HBCU in comparison to what he would gain at a Power 5 school would do him more justice than anything. Because I think that the environment that he or she could be in would not only cater to them, but would also prepare them for like after that 1 year. And I don't think you get that a lot at these top tier colleges.
I will say this. I think the pressure that would be on the kid at HBCU, he better single-handedly lead them to the tourney and win a couple, or he better be dropping 40 a game. Because they're going to be like, yo, you not playing with dude. They're going to perceive that he's not playing with people up to his standard. So he needs to dominate. So it ain't no bad games. You know what I mean? And it's going to be a lot of pressure. And I don't even like them putting that kind of pressure on kids like Zion or any 18, 19-year-old kid straight out of high school going, nah, fam, you got to come here and you got to be the best thing since sliced bread. That's a lot of pressure. And again, it's much easier to say, man, I could just go to Kansas. Man, if I drop 18 a game and get like 9 boards, I'm definitely getting picked in the top 8. Just saying, man.
And again, like I said, I'm because again, I think basketball, if you shine, they're gonna find you because you can get in the tournament. You can play for the SWAC, CIAA. You can play for those schools. But when you talk about football, you gotta wait 3 years. You know what I'm saying? And what is that gonna look like?
You want to get your ass kicked for 3 years?
That's what I'm saying. Like, do you like? What does that look like? And then again, like you said, Ruck, these kids are going to be the experiment. And if they're a businessman, like you said, Hampton gonna play Virginia Tech. They're gonna play Virginia. You want to around those first 2 games like that?
Listen, we had a lot of players, and you guys know this too. There are a lot of players that leave Power 5 schools to go to HBCUs.
But that was before the transfer portal. That was when you had to do that. You had to drop down, remember?
Yeah, but now that you can do it. Like we see. Listen,
Ricky Francois.
Ricky Jean Francois went to Hampton. Kalen Newton.
I can tell by the way he played.
Left Howard. left Howard, and is now at Auburn. So, like, it's possible. That's all I'm saying. And I just think that we need to give them the opportunities that they can to make it happen, because it's happened on the hardwood, on the football field. It's happened. Tariq Cohen. Did Chicago find Tariq Cohen? At North Carolina A&T. Yep, because of what he did.
You know what?
It can happen.
You know what? DeAndre Francois, because y'all said Ricky Francois. You know what they
name is Ricky Francois.
Okay.
I know what I said. I know what his government name is. That nigga Ricky.
Mama name him Ricky. I'm gonna call him Ricky. But you know what would be dope though? If like some of these black athletes, right? They say, yo, we're gonna go to these black schools and then we're gonna transfer to these Power 5 schools and catch wreck. You know what I mean? Now you gotta take notice of us because we coming from here and we coming here. I'm just saying.
You want to leave them high and dry?
Shit, they're gonna leave them high and dry anyway. If you talking one and done, you're gonna leave them high and dry anyway.
Here, then go to a Power 5 school.
And then say, yo, listen, I got some boys that go there. NFL, you need to.
Now they just gonna go to the high school that they came from and get them. They're gonna bypass the HBCU.
It's for real.
Listen,
right there, mama doorstep. Oh, you ain't got no house? You want public housing? We're gonna do Reggie Bush for you.
I'll just say it. Yo, listen, but so that was my question. Because I know everybody's saying go HBCU, and I didn't want to look like the devil. But I just wanted to play devil's advocate. Like, what is that gonna look like? Because you got a kid that's like, yo, listen, I mean, that's cool, but shit, I got this Ferrari over here. What y'all got for me?
Damn, I would love to see it. I would love to see all of the star black athletes go fuck the Power 5 and go to HBCU and make it popping. Yo, halftime would be a party every
Yes.
halftime, and
Yes.
the games would be
Every
live as shit.
You
Don't
would actually watch
leave.
the games. You would
For
actually
real.
watch Jay.
Yo,
Now
for real.
I think where they
Where they
convert
gonna
it
get white
in
wife from?
basketball. What do you say, Randall?
If they go to HBCU, where they gonna get their future white wife from?
Ooh, that's a good point. That's a good
They're
point.
gonna get her from a bigger school in that state.
Oh, but you know what, Randall? A lot of them, they come in with their white girlfriend already from high school. They come in already. They getting snatched up.
Wait. Mr. Anthony Bernard Ellison. Almost everybody gets gifts. Everybody. Let's keep it real. Everybody getting something. Like that. That is the name of the game.
Hell yeah. Come on now. We everybody here saw he got game. We know how it work. We know how this work.
Listen,
This is
when you
big time
are in
everywhere.
AA, listen, when you play AAU, that's the first thing they do is give you shit.
You
That's
get
what they do. So now you get accustomed to it. Like, okay, well, if I was just coming in like me, not a good athlete, if I was to come in and say, hey, Marquette, just work hard, you get what you want. Okay, cool. Young 18-year-old me, yeah. But Chris G, who been to camps and stuff like that, he like, yo, I mean, I got these Nikes and these shorts. Yo, what y'all got for me? Because these cleats, I need some new ones. What you got for me?
Buddy system. I'm getting a scholarship. Oh, so my boy is getting a scholarship too, right?
Right. Yeah. I'm just saying. So what Anthony Bernard, he said, cut it out, taking Ferraris. Let's keep it real, please. Stop.
Did Melo have a different car every day of the week when he was at Syracuse?
Yeah. Man, what you talking about? What you
Let's not be naive here.
Yeah, yo, listen, they get money. Listen, I went to school, and again, I went to black school. I went to, God rest his soul, Tavares Jackson, right? Good dude. Trust me. Alabama State was giving him something. They was giving him something. I know that for a fact. Because he came from Tennessee. He could have went anywhere he wanted to, but he went to Alabama State, and trust me, they was making sure he was good. Now, again, I was from Connecticut, early 2000. I ain't never seen 24s I ain't never seen 20s in my life. But when you talking about 20, I didn't realize how big 24s were. My man was not walking. That's what I got
years ago when cats were getting recruited and mysteriously their daddies were getting jobs at the schools.
Yeah,
real.
Like, how he work here?
So Anthony said, where y'all been? HBCUs already get Nike sponsor. Is it difference between sponsorships?
Yeah,
and sponsored by Nike. It's a difference. Because high school gets sponsors.
We'll throw y'all some Team Jordans. Y'all can have those. Right.
You can have the sponsorship. You listen, put Nike all over that, billboard. But Oregon is getting sponsored by Nike. It's a big difference.
No, Oregon? I thought Oregon was something else. Or maybe it is.
No, Oregon.
It's Nike.
That's still Nike.
Yeah.
Maryland.
That's where Prefontaine from. That's from Prefontaine.
Pretty Ricky, what they called him. And Maryland, the owner of Under Armour, he went, he loves Maryland, so they get that break.
Well, he went there.
Yeah. So Ebony, she said a school offered to pay my child father's mother rent. He ended up being roommates with Carmelo Anthony.
See,
Big Rich. When he went to Iowa and he was getting recruited, I didn't know it was like this. He said, "Yo, if you want, I can tell them that if they can't take you, then I'm not going." I said, first of all, I mean, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do at D1 school, but he was like, "Bro, huh?
Rich from BGV?
No.
Oh.
We a real athlete.
No, you're talking about Rich Cottrell.
All American. New Haven cat, not Bridgeport. No, I'm just joking.
He's a Stratford, I think.
Wow.
Now I'm saying though, but again, I didn't realize. I was naive. I didn't realize it was like that. But they like, what you want, man? What you want? You want to go home every weekend? Cool, we got you. You want a car? We got you. So again, Anthony, we're not downplaying HBCUs because you came on late. Well, what we're saying is they're gonna have to do something a little bit different to get these players to stay, and that's what we're saying. So I know you like pro black and Jesus Christ, y'all sitting here talking about the black schools, you white devil lovers. No, we're not. we just calling a spade, and Ruck went to one of the elite black schools that I mentioned earlier, who can get millionaires to say, "Yo, here you go. What's good? Keep this program afloat." Some black schools can't do that. Some black schools, once they're done, they're done. You know? So he said, so let me ask you this. You telling me UConn football has more clout than an HBCU? They got money. They got the basketball program.
They got a TV contract.
They do.
A TV contract, yes. It's at Rutgers. He said Rutgers, Toledo. Yes, Rutgers.
Oh, of course.
Rutgers.
Because you know where Rutgers play. Rutgers play in the Big Ten. So they get to play Michigan, Ohio State, Iowa, Michigan State, Wisconsin every year, Nebraska every year.
All these
that's money.
Okay, he said Toledo. Yes, Toledo has more clout than HBCU because guess what? They play on ESPN a lot. They play on ESPN.
Yeah, they play in
they play in the MAC. But they play a lot
on Thursday night.
They play.
I know a lot about this.
Yes,
I know a lot about this because I bet.
You know, but
Matt got Thursday night. Matt got Thursday nights on ESPN locked when the college football season come on. It's about 3 weeks after. Listen, you don't really like to bet on Mac games because sometimes they like flip-flop because they're not the best of players. But trust me, Thursday night, ESPN 1 and 2, all Mac games, 7 o'clock game and a 9 o'clock game.
You betting on Mac games?
Yeah, he is.
I bet. I do.
Listen, Chris was on Mac 10. He don't give a damn.
Let the church say amen.
You bet on spring games too?
What'd you say?
You bet on spring games too?
No, I don't do spring games and preseason. That I don't do. But I do bet on Mac football.
God,
and let me tell you something. That's why I be knowing about a lot of players before. Like I knew about Kareem Hunt because he played on Mac on Thursday. I was like, every time he played, I think he was he might have been Toledo. Where was he? He was I can't remember. Anyway, I remember his team. I was like, oh yeah, they definitely getting the spread.
But
100%.
The MAC is like an extension of the Big Ten because they play a lot of those teams in the season.
Yeah, Iowa,
in that area.
Ohio, Toledo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Teams like that, they're all in the MAC.
Miami of Ohio.
Ohio.
So we're not
Central
we're not shorting the HBCU.
Like
They have talent. They have Hall of Famers. That's not again. If you had caught us earlier, you would have really said and understood what we were talking about. But like we said, in football wise, and they don't play in the playoff system, so they can play, North Dakota State. They can play those D1 AA schools, and that's where it stops. Because even though they put their games on TV, but they are separated from those predominantly white schools where they should be playing them in crunch time. And that's where they lose a lot of viewership. Now, basketball is a little different because they can sneak in there and they can sneak into, the Elite Eights and stuff like that.
You get a team of seniors, they could pull it off.
Right. But when you talk about football, like Randall said earlier, are you going to risk that? Like, are you going to say, okay, well, I got to wait until this class comes so we can get that? And then again, like I said, and then you got Todd talking. And then you got Mel Kiper like, well, he don't have enough tape against good teams. So that's my point. But would we love to see black players go to HBCUs like they used to back in the day where they was getting them and these white coaches say, we're going to lift this band so we can get these Negroes in here so we can win championships? Of course we do. But what we're saying is that they're going to have to break away from the traditional stuff and get these kids so they can really get supported. That's what we're saying. So I want to talk about the NBA real quick because I know it's getting late. We all are older. We all are fathers. We all aren't college students like we once were.
Yeah, I got to dip out because I hear my son running around. There's no reason he should be awake right now.
Oh, shit. All right. Well, listen, Randall, we appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I love talking to y'all. Yeah.
Yes.
In a minute. I can't say that. DCF, get me. Yeah, I love being on with y'all. Take it easy. Man,
we love having you.
All right, bro.
Appreciate it. So, NBA. They're not drug testing. They said, listen, we're not drug testing for recreational, drugs. I mean, what y'all say about that? Is this going to become the norm or is like, yo, we need this money and people ain't going to be watching it. So,
Listen, they've been watching all the smoke since it wasn't that norm. So, so they know what's going on.
They know it's a lot of smoking. They already in the hole with how late they're going to have to run the NBA playoffs and have to deal with really going against football at its height. You're talking about October. They're talking about the NBA finals, and we're going to be dead in the SEC season, Big Ten season, NFL, going to be really in the thick of it. By that time, NFL being, week 4 or 5, they can't be going into that going, yo, we got to suspend old boy because he smoked some weed. Fuck out of here with that.
Now, this is where we talk about Adam Silver versus Chris Boy, Roger Goodell. Because Goodell would have been like, yo, nah, we testing everybody. And if we ain't got nobody that lets to play, we don't care. We going to put it on Madden. And they're going to play that way. But what does that say? Is it more of a, we care about these players because we'd rather have them do that versus this? Or is it a straight up money ploy? Like, yo, we just trying to make some money. So we know that y'all smoking. So we ain't even going to do that.
It's a sign of a progressive league.
Okay.
I think it's really as simple as that. But then, I mean, if you wanted to go to a deeper issue, I mean, the NFL probably makes more money on medical staff and treatments than the NBA does.
That's a great point.
Because it's more injuries and
more players.
It's more players, more injuries. There's more meds to give out that can be detrimental to players' health. But again, it's a big money grab. So at the end of the day, I think it's a more progressive move by a progressive commissioner for a progressive league that's going to continue to move the needle. So it's a good thing.
What you got to say about this, Chris? What you got to say about Adam Silver saying, "Yo, listen, man, we gotta look out for our players."
Look, I mean,
I'll
say this. I would say if football wasn't king, I'd say that Roger Goodell would probably do something similar. This is about money and saving face right now. They don't got time to worry about drug tests and shit like that. And you know how much I don't like Roger Goodell, but if I'm being perfectly honest, I think he would do something very similar if they were in the same predicament and situation that the NBA is in right now. With that being said, then listen, it's something that is already BS. Like, why you nobody cares about weed. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they try to make it a big drug back in the early '80s, and that stigma stuck with it for a long time. But at this point in society, man, don't nobody care about weed like that no more.
Nah.
So you know what I mean? They just slow to the party as every major organization is always. They're the last ones to the party. They're the first ones to cry wolf. So it's just a sign of the times.
Because opiates is way more addictive than weed, and I can tell you that.
Way more addictive. And let me tell you something. And they don't like to talk about that.
Right.
And they give those out like candy.
Like candy.
Toradol, Oxycontin. Yeah, NFL is big business.
Benzodiazepine. Yeah. So, Yeah. But fellas, man, I had a great time. We touched this real quick, but like I said, we got on that topic, and we just stayed on there, which was dope. Thanks for having Randall on. Also, I want to thank everybody for commenting. Also, Uncle Juan, he was in the building. Appreciate him. Anthony, always, man. Thank you. Ebony, who was Anthony? He was on. TC.
Hold on. You about to wrap up, and I got something that I wanted to bring up.
Go ahead, please do. Andre Robinson, thank you, sir.
So me and my boy, y'all know Bub. We was arguing today on our way to work, and y'all know how much I dislike Matt Ryan. And yeah, that's right. I'm bringing it up.
You love Matt Ryan.
So I said, I think Matt Ryan. I think there's a line, okay, in the NFL. There's a line where you could be they are franchise or they're not franchise quarterbacks. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And I said, I personally believe, as much as I don't like him, Matt Ryan is the line. Like, you can't go lower than Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is the last acceptable talent. We'll get to where I got him at. But well, I said, when you're on the line, he's the last person on the line of who you can make a franchise quarterback.
And so he got 2 years left of that.
And he's got 2 years left of that. But I wanted to give y'all my list of who was above the line and then the quarterbacks on the line. And then every other quarterback is below the line, and they're not franchise quarterback. This is not in any particular order. This was just as the names came to me in my head. Huh? Well, yeah, because once I got to a certain spot, I wasn't paying attention, but because I knew I wasn't in order because of where I put Aaron Rodgers. Then I was like, all right, I know this ain't in order. Anyway, that's true. So Patrick Mahomes is above the line franchise quarterback. We can all agree on that?
Yes.
So how about this? If y'all can't agree, say no. Okay? Patrick Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Drew Brees, Tom Brady.
Of course.
I'm talking about just right now. Not
Tom
overall,
Brady.
just right now. Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Drew Brees, and I know we don't like Drew Brees right now, but Drew Brees.
Okay.
Tom Brady. Aaron Rodgers. Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Deshaun Watson.
That boy good.
Carson Wentz. Dak Prescott. Ben Roethlisberger. Now, on the line in this order, these are the last two quarterbacks that you can franchise. Cam Newton, and then last, Matt Ryan. Every other quarterback is not, to me, an acceptable franchise quarterback. So that's your Matt Staffords, that's your Jimmy G's, that's your Baker Mayfields, that's your Kyler Murray's, that's your every other quarterback. Ryan Tannehill.
I'm rocking with that. Kirk Cousins.
You rocking with that, Rob?
I'm rocking with that.
I'm rocking with that.
And listen, I know people. And listen, also,
you don't have Matt Ryan as a top 10 quarterback, and he's a top 10 quarterback.
Okay, so Bub's main argument is that he's a top 10 quarterback, and I said no. He's just wherever the line is, he's on the line. So I will put everybody else above Matt Ryan because I know all of those quarterbacks, if they had Julio Jones, would use him correctly. And that's my argument. That is my argument.
Well, only person.
Dak Prescott don't got a Julio Jones.
But the only person I will say I felt bad for, and he doesn't get mentioned, but he got the numbers, is Matthew Stafford. I think when you have so many coordinators,
below the line,
right? But when you have, I would take him over Carson Wentz because if you look at what he has in far as production, he has the numbers. When you look at the coaches he had,
jump time numbers.
That's also like when you talk about Alex Smith, and I was like, I don't like you said, but you gotta look at him having 8 coaches. Again, to me, he's on that line. He's on that line because of
Matt.
Because of the coaches that he had, and I think when he had Jim Caldwell, I think he was doing really good, really well. But
can we also speak to the point that Stafford had Megatron?
Yeah,
exactly.
But also when you didn't have but if you look at his numbers, he has the numbers. He has the numbers, but he don't have a freaking defense. He don't have a defense.
He's had defense.
But this is what I'm saying. Like his numbers are the way they were or the way they are predominantly due to Megatron.
But I would take him over Carson Wentz.
Why?
Carson Wentz. The reason I say that I kind of shake my head at Carson Wentz is because he hasn't really been around enough moments to consider him. I mean, I know the league wants to consider him as above the line and elite, but he's missed too many big moments.
He missed a lot of big moments. But I want you guys to look at what Carson Wentz, and I'm not a Carson Wentz fan. Y'all know that. But I want y'all to look at what he did last year he was playing with practice squad receivers.
Yes.
Practice squad receiver. He was on his third running back. There was not one weapon. And what did he do? He had a 3 or 4 game. They were 3 or 4 games back from Dallas, and they not only did they chase them down, they passed them, and they got into the playoffs. Now they lost to Seattle, and they ran out of steam by that time, though. But they didn't. You're talking about being handicapped without talent. Matthew Stafford has had a plethora of talent and a bunch of opportunities in playoff games and could not deliver.
Okay.
So I take it one step further. Like I know everybody is just dumping on him, but listen, Cam had an MVP season with who was the real legitimate number one? Funches?
Mm-hmm.
No, Olsen. Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
Okay,
Greg
but
Olsen
again,
is his legitimate number one.
Should have been
it's his legitimate number one, but as a tight end, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So Cam has done that, and I think he gets a raw deal with this whole thing because he hasn't been able to play, and because he's been injured too. But I think again, I still do rock with your list, Chris. I rock with it.
Me too. I don't have a problem with it. I just
rock with it.
Now,
below the line, but below the line, real quick, and Chris, I need you to repeat this so Bub hears me. Is below the line is Derek Carr. Go ahead and let him know that.
Oh yeah. Oh, I mean that goes without saying.
Real quick.
Listen, Dave knows that Derek Carr is below the line. He'll tell you that himself. You won't get no argument out of Dave about Derek Carr being below the line, would you?
Nope. Not at all.
No, he said Ruck wanted to let you know that Derek Carr was below the line. And he said,
let Ruck know that E-Rob about to get traded.
he said, let Ruck know E-Rob about to get traded.
Hey, you might be right, too.
You might be right.
You might be right.
Fellas, listen, I had a great time, man. Thank you for everybody that was tuning in. We appreciate every single one. Everybody, man. Again, we want to thank our sponsor, 94.3 WYBC.
The rhythm of the city.
Yes. Also, man, before we go, Ruck, man, you got something for us, man?
If you play the music again, I ain't messing with you.
I'm not gonna. I got some other joints.
Oh, now you got some else?
Nah, I mean, I got more games. So go ahead.
Yeah.
What you got for me,
man? So I guess I'm turning into Charlamagne with the positive note, man.
Yeah.
People, I'm with it. Charlamagne, come holler at me, man. You might need some of this. Listen, people, in this time that we've been able to take a break, kind of refocus and things like that, one of the biggest things that I've always taken from my coach, he used to tell me, never confuse activity with accomplishment. Never confuse activity with accomplishment. So just because your arms is moving and everything, you might be sweating. That might not be you burning calories. That might be the sugars, as Chris calls them. So make sure that people every day that we're moving with a purpose, that we're operating with a purpose. In this time, that's what it's all about. So that's the word of the day from the Ruck Report. You heard?
Well, listen, man. On that note, thanks again for tuning to another edition of Don't Shoot the Messenger podcast. I'm your boy, Professional Sutton.
And I'm your boy, Chris G.
And it's your boy, the Ruck Report. Cheers.
And on that note, we are out of here. Peace.
One day, it will be gone.
I knew he was going to do it, yo.
Oh, one